Welcome to Goblin-Inc. I'm your host Ace of Spades, and today we're gonna go over why Blizzard did not nerf Bulwark and the build is just now better than it ever was. We have something called vampiric powers. Has no one noticed how broken Moonrise is? How's that this actually made it into the game? How do you get 50% move speed, 160% basic skill damage and 20% attack speed, and then you also give us Ravenous, which gives 40% of our total move speed as attack speed, so we get 80% extra attack speed. This is just ridiculous. So before we get into the build and how it works, let's talk about today's sponsor. Before we get to the build, thank you to today's sponsor, Dungeon Hunter 6, a free-to-play mobile RPG with a unique hero collector feature in a stunning fantasy style. The gameplay features a fast-paced hack-and-slash combat style with various builds and skills utilized as you fight bosses. It's absolutely free to play. Download it now, check the link in the description, or scan a QR code you can see up there, if you're viewing it on PC of course. In Dungeon Hunter 6, for every boss you can defeat, the game also offers you a unique mechanism by which you can not only loot him, but you can also ride and fly him, and also summon in the end up to 3 of them onto the battlefield. They can become member of your squad, and in total there are over 100 uniquely designed bosses, unlike Diablo 4, that you can conquer and you can explore, and new classes and units are updated monthly. Dungeon Hunter 6 has an insane graphic for a mobile game, on top of having a variety of cool features that Diablo might or might not have, like play with guildmates in a battle of guild wars, grind a variety of skill tree option to test builds, we do have that, but trade items via the auction house, this is something we would like to have. You can always download the game for free on both Android and iOS. Again, use the link in the description or scan a QR code up and get a special starter pack worth $50 using my link. You can enter the Lucky Spin event for free to win great prizes like iPhone 15 Pro, Max, PS5, Apple Watch and more starting October 15. Check out the descriptions for details. So, the build. Well, it's a Bulwark build. We don't really do a lot of damage with Bulwark anymore. In fact, we use it for Fortify, but this is our main defense. This build can be played with low life, or if you don't want to play low life, it's fine. I actually haven't been able to die even when I'm not low life, because when I level up, my HP bar goes back up. So it really doesn't matter. I'm actually running tier 77 dungeons just for fun. But leveling up glyphs is important, but I'm doing it with Mad Wolf Glee, because it gives me more movement speed, more damage, and more ranks to my skills. The fact that I cannot die while leveling, doing a 77 nightmare dungeon with an offensive chest piece is just ridiculous. I am also not having my defenses maxed out. As you can see, my resistances are not capped, but I'm able to kill bosses, I'm able to push probably even close to tier 100 at this point, without any issues. How does the build work? Well, let's go into the vampiric power first, because I really think they are the juiciest part of the build. We talked a little bit about Moonrise, and this is now a heavily based basic attack build. Basic attacks are the core of the build and they are extremely overpowered, because we get so many multipliers. Well, not multipliers, but nothing is a multiplier now. You might have heard about that. Anyway, we get Moonrise, we get Ravenous, which combo together, we talked a little bit about it already. We also play with Sanguine Brace for more crit chance, we can play with Resilience, and this is another broken thing. We can abuse the most out of vampiric power out of any build. 1% damage reduction for every 2% of life missing, meaning that we can get another 50%, well close to 50% damage reduction, meaning that we have 50% less damage taken, but also because we have double the attack speed, we have double the amount of bulwarks. So you take half of the damage and you have twice as many shields as before. And we could already face tank Lilith before. This is just so crazy that we are 4 times as tanky as before. We should be, I think, the best class for PvP. I don't see how anyone can kill us nowadays. Now, we play also Prey on the Weak, for 16% more damage to vulnerable targets, but I'm gonna show you a couple of really cool options with vampiric power. So we can reset the cooldown of our ultimates by playing with different powers. So I'm now looking over them. There is Anticipation, which is 20% cooldown reduction. But Hectic, for every 5 basic skills you cast, one of your active cooldowns is reduced by 2 seconds. This is really powerful for either playing Debilitating Roar or for resetting the cooldown of Petrify. I would take off the 8% crit chance for that power if you want the extra defense. If you're pushing really high number dungeons, I think it is worth having. Let's talk a little bit about our aspects now and the gear that you need for the build and how to obtain it, of course. So for the gear of the build, I really like to play with, well, of course, Greater Staff of the CRONE. You play with basic skill damage gems. You have boots with Unstoppable, 25% move speed, which is extremely overpowered, of course. And it's really important that you guys get 40% damage reduction while injured here. It's really important. I like the move speed. It's also possible to play with a different type of boots, which reset the cooldown of your dash. Now you can see I have 3 maximum evade charges, but vampiric power wise, there is something called, not Moonrise, it's called, what's the name of that thing again? I'm really bad with names. It's Metamorphosis. So Metamorphosis makes you blink pretty much. You can see it on the video sometimes when I'm using it, some of my footage here. You can see me reset the cooldown of my dash and then keep dashing really quickly. Very fast for speed farming. So you can take off the 8% crit chance and you can play that, and that will be for speeds. Then, you know, pushing, you take out 8% crit chance, and you take cooldown reduction for Petrify and for Debilitating Roar or whatever you want to play. So this is the option you can have with Vampiric Powers, which is really cool that you have a speed farm build. 8% crit chance is like all the time good. So you have a speed farm, you have a bossing, you have a pushing build, all by changing your Vampiric Powers. It's very cool and very easy. Then we have on our legs, they are injured again, basic skills grant damage reduction, and then here you can get a bunch of resistances to cap your resistances. More damage reduction will also be good. For gloves, very important, you go for attack speed and crit chance. The rest doesn't really matter, but of course willpower is good, lucky hit chance is decent, and also crit damage is also really strong. Then we imprint natural balance for the 12% crit chance. We take the chest, Madwolf Glee, super OP. I've been speed farming 77 and plus with this, meaning that I cannot die when pushing, and I'm only level 90. This build gets super tankier the more you level up, because based on your base life, which scales really high with levels, you get more shield, meaning that because, you know, Bulwark is based off your base life. So leveling is extremely overpowered for this build. We're gonna be over twice as tanky just by leveling. That's just how strong this is for the build. So Madwolf Glaive gives you move speed, very helpful if you're not capped yet. And of course more damage, more ranks to your skills, very good for speeds. A normal chest though would be something like this. You play Disobedience, you play ranks to Earth and Bulwark, and then just a bunch of DR. And resistances, of course, if you do not have them capped yet. The Helm, I regret here having imprinted my damage reduction while in Werewolf. I would suggest you stick with the 6 seconds increase to your Earth and Bulwark, like on the Mobalytics guide, because it's a bit annoying to playing without it. Sometimes the Bulwark goes down, but I have not died yet. Still annoying, and I will change it. Basic skill, total armor, barrier generation, willpower. Resistances is also very good. Max life can also be good because you need enough life to sustain your shield. If you don't have enough life, your shield will bypass your max life and then get deleted. Your shield is capped at your max life. If you have more shield than your max life, the extra shield just goes into the Shadow Realm. Yu-Gi-Oh! Reference. Symbiotic Choker, I have, of course, Nature's Fury. And here we have they are injured, of course. Ranks to defensive skills is not great. It's good, but Envenom is better. I really like this. Defensive skill is really good, especially in PvP, because ranks to Bulwark is simply flat amount of DR, pretty much, that you have under any circumstance. and it's not affected by PvP DR nerfs. And of course I have some bad stats here, but you know, don't have good gear yet. Rings, you want crit chance, you want basic skill, attack speed as your aspect, and then you want overcharged. This is from the codex, but I will now change it up to a better one. And I think you want to put your overcharge on the highest item level item possible that you can have. So I'm looking for a really good ring before I transfer my overcharge, as I believe it's based on item levels now, but in my update to this build, with my final version, I will provide that. If you want to farm great stuff of the CRONE, go to Varshan. It's pretty easy to farm it there. You can get carried, but at level 75 pretty much anyone can do a Varshan, and you can get many from stuff from that very easily. I got 3 of them already. My boons are gonna be Wariness, are gonna be playing with Calm Before the Storm, of course, for resetting the cooldown of your ultimate. And I play with Pack Leader, but you don't have to. You can play with Calamity if you like to play with Debilitating Roar. It kind of depends. Debilitating Roar or Poison Creeper, it's something you can switch in and out. Poison Creeper is better for pushing. Debilitating Roar is maybe better for tier 100 specifically. Poison Creepers gives you more damage, but they also have to be kind of tanky enough for them to survive that, so it's kind of a weird skill to use. Swooping attacks, it's also annoying. Swooping attacks is 10% attack speed. Scythe Talon is crit chance. If you need to take the HP, which is very good, just take off swooping attacks and keep crit chance. The crit damage is also decent if you do not have. So really all 4 of those are really good. I'm most equally good, honestly, so it really depends what your build is missing, but this is what I had. Now, for abilities, let's go over them. You want to max rank your Claw, your Storm Strike, and of course we want to be getting move speed from Digit Great Gate and critical strike chance close enemies. You can play with Iron Fur if you play with Debilitating Roar, otherwise you take it out. Max rank Earth and Bulwarks with Fortify as the passive, so that we can fortify the build without having to use anything else. Cyclone Armor, you can dump extra points in it, it's pretty good. And also we'll be getting Preserved Cyclone Armor, very powerful, don't underestimate that. Max point Ancestral Fortitude is now really good. And also on Vigilance, we take Poison Creeper with crit chance, I like that. You can run Debilitating Roar, depending if you find it annoying or not annoying to use. Hurricane with DR, damage reduction for the passive. And we of course be taking Neurotoxin, combination with Venom and Toxic Claw, so that we can apply poison with Claw. We take Defiance for more natural magic skill damage. Claw is a natural magic skill, because it becomes Storm when you play with the great stuff of the CRONE. Then we have Heightened Senses for damage reduction, and of course our passive, Nature's Fury, which now the skills count as both Earth and Storm. This is really good as you get, you know, more damage for that, because you get more buffs. So you also cast a 3rd basic attack. I don't think it's worth putting points in Earth Spike, but it could be something to think about. For Paragon Board, this is a really good Paragon Board that you can follow and copy if you're leveling. But I have the final version for level 100 on my Mobalytics, and it will go through some updates as I min-max the build further. I start by taking Territorial because I want to get to Thunderstruck super fast. I want to go Territorial, Thunderstruck, get that multiplier with damage versus close, which, haha, you can find on Territorial. That's also why getting damage to close enemies on rings now is very powerful. So this is a very powerful combination. I'm running Keeper for the rare node buff. I'm running Protector, rare node buffs, and of course Virus damage reduction. I'm running Werewolf, and I'll be adding Spirit, and of course Trustworthy Fang and Claw here. I plan on getting Heightened Malice back into the build because I think it's really powerful. And that's gonna be my next priority, is going for that legendary node and making it fit into the build. I hope you guys enjoyed this build, and I will see you guys around on the next one for an update.